Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? We're back for another episode of Health or High Water. Thank you for joining us. Suzie, what's going on?
Oh my gosh, thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We've already been having fun, so I want to jump. Yeah, thanks for taking your time out, too. You're doing some stuff. I originally was excited to have you in because of baseball stuff. You're the cool thing that I saw was you had toured 1 year every single ballpark in United States.
Yeah.
Every park. You didn't miss a single one.
No, and technically the year I did it, there were bonus ballparks because it was right after the pandemic, and the Blue Jays played in more than one stadium. So I went when they were playing in a AAA stadium in Buffalo, New York. I went there.
So you really went above and beyond with that road trip.
Well, to be fair, we actually didn't know at the time if like Canada was going to open back up during the season, and then they did. Like they announced it in August, and I was like, no, okay, now I have to go to Canada. I got to renew my passport.
How much did you spend in gas?
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you, I don't know how much I actually spent in gas, but like between like, the gas, the hotels, a trip like that is like $30,000.
Oh my.
Oh, I bet.
That could have been a mortgage payment or a down payment.
You were hoteling it. You didn't. I would think you would do the whole full experience and just sleep in your car.
I'm not sleeping in my car. I have never done that in my life. I'm not going to start now. Well, like if I had a friend who like lived in a city that was like on the way to where I was going or in the same city as a team, like I would stay with them. But like there's so many in between spots. I'm like, I don't know anyone in like Salina, Kansas. Like I gotta stay at the Homewood Suites. Like that's the only option.
Did you go by yourself, boyfriend, husband?
I was single at the time, so I was doing this trip by myself. Every once in a while, like at one leg of the trip, actually, like a bunch of my family flew out and like did their own mini road trip. So like I met up with like people along the way.
That's really cool.
Yeah, my mom tagged along for like one of the drives when I was driving from Denver up to Seattle. That's like a 3-day drive. So my mom actually flew in and met me in Denver, and she did that drive with me. So we got to see Wyoming.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I have like 100 pictures of Wyoming on my phone, and they all look exactly the same. But it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, Wyoming is beautiful.
Yeah.
What a crazy year that must have been.
It was an absolutely wild year. And yeah, I was coming off of a really crazy year in my career. I was in local news. It was during the pandemic. It was messy. It was a lot. So I was like so ready for a break.
Well, were you reporting on sports? What was before?
Yeah, so before they put me on like breaking news like in the morning. So like my shift started at like 3 a.m. I know. And like that is a horrible, horrible sleep schedule. And you have to like really commit to it. It was like my whole personality. But like before that, I was doing features in sports. So I had like a more normal schedule. But those things kind of didn't exist during the pandemic. So they had me doing news. So like every morning I was standing in front of like an elementary school being like, yeah, it's closed. Still closed. It was tough.
It's raining out here. You can see it's really windy.
With the traffic report. Yep, still nothing.
So what was the like impetus? Like what started the whole idea of traveling? But somebody inspire you, or you just decided one day? How did you decide to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd heard about people doing it, and I knew that would be something I'd always want to do. And I was like, oh, like maybe when I'm older, like, oh, if I have a family someday, like that'd be a fun thing. I was like, well, why would I wait for that? I don't know what's going to happen in the future, especially coming out of a year where so many crazy things that we never expected happened. I was like, well, this is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. That's the best time to do it is when you're like, now. Yeah. There's no reason to wait on this. How did you have the money saved up at that point?
Yeah, I had no savings after that trip. Yeah, I had nothing. Because I moved to Denver right at the end of this road trip, and I was just like, whew, okay, what did I do?
How long did it take you from start to finish, from the first ballpark to the last?
So I started in May, and it took me until the last homestand of the season.
Okay.
In Toronto.
Oh, yeah. So May to the final.
Like first week of October.
Holy crap.
Yeah, but I also I wanted to make sure I wasn't like burning myself out driving. So like I definitely had like a lot of time in between. Some cities I spent a little longer in to like get a little break, especially if it was like somewhere where a friend lived. So it took a while, but I also I guess I could have done it faster, but I might have been burnt out if I tried to do it faster.
Has anybody done it? I wonder, is there a record for speed?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
that's-
know. You definitely could do it a little faster, but like not that much faster.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because-
the speed record.
Yeah, no, because like also the weird thing, like when I was putting together like the map of like where I would go in which order, it's like, well, yeah, you could go in this like straight line, but those teams aren't all home at the same time, so you kind of had to like zigzag around. So like actually putting together like the schedule of it was so hard.
That was going to be my question: is
Yeah.
how did you plan that out?
Yeah, I have a Google map with like a spreadsheet and like all of like their schedules, and it was like I spent like 7 hours on it. I was just like I started it like at night, like around dinner time, and all of a sudden it was like super. I'm like I'm just like so like zoned in right now. It was so ADHD brain. I was like, oh, I am like hyper focused on this right now. But I think it's a masterpiece. I'd be happy to share the map with you.
I would actually love to see it, to be honest.
Yeah.
As like an incessant planner myself, I'm like, I want to see this masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece of planning. It's the best I'll ever do. Otherwise, I'm not a planner.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
not a
not.
planner. You just crushed this one.
I just did just this one time only. All the planning I'll need to do for the rest of my life, honestly.
Everything would be cake after that.
That's a good point.
So did you were you always buying the cheap seats, or did you go, how did that work?
I usually bought the cheap seats.
What's
That year, it's so funny. Like I at first like had messaged teams and I was like, hey, like, is it possible to do a tour? Like I'm doing this thing where I'm driving to all the ballparks, and they're like, we don't do tours. Good luck. And I'm just like, can't even offer me a ticket. So like, all of these tickets came out of pocket.
So
Yeah.
any baseball teams listening, hire some new PR.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tough time. Like also like, I mean, ballparks, when I started the road trip, like ballparks were still at like 25% capacity, 50% capacity. So they're just like, we don't have the bandwidth for this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you blog, or were there any news stories written, or try to get any?
Yeah, I mean, actually, like, I didn't like reach out to any like news stations,
Yeah.
which I guess is like a thing I could have done, but I was just like, I'm just living my life here. I'm not working. I'm just vibing. I did vlog everything. I posted some of them, but I could like make a whole documentary with like the footage in my phone and on my camera. So, like, I've got like all this like footage. I definitely journaled during it. I've always wanted to write a book about this whole experience, so I might do that. I'm working on it.
What was the biggest thing? I mean, obviously you could probably talk forever about it. What was the biggest thing you learned? Because everybody dreams about taking off work and doing something. What was the biggest thing you learned through it?
It was not as much of a break as I thought it would be. Like I'd gone on a vacation like right after that trip, and I was like, I'm on vacation, and everyone's like, you were just on vacation for 6 months. You're a loser. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I was driving nonstop.
Driving sucks.
And like especially like coming off of like working in local news, like that's mostly driving during the day. So I was like, am I ever gonna like get out of this car?
Yeah.
I didn't drive for like a month after that.
What car did you take?
I used to have a RAV4, so like I had no room to. I can't sleep in that car, but also I had not that I've never camped before either. Like I think my mom would have been upset if I even tried to do that. But like the back, I had like bins of like, these are my shirts, these are my jeans or my shorts, and like these are my toiletries. So I had like, instead of like a suitcase, I had like these bins of like all the different things that I needed, which I actually thought like worked really well.
Heck yeah. I thought you said you weren't an organizer, and you had like everything in bins.
I like I said, one time only.
You should see the boys' trip. It's literally everything thrown in the back.
Whose trash bag is this?
Wait, do you guys really use trash bags?
No.
Never.
Oh.
I can see Trip using one for a suitcase.
Maybe once or twice.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's rich. So, where'd you start first? What was the very first one you did?
First one I did was Philly. That's where I'm from originally, but I was in Philly for like the month and a half after I left my job. My sister got married in May, so like the day before her wedding was the first ballpark that I did on the road trip.
Yeah, all right.
So it was
all
like
right.
a day game, like right before her rehearsal dinner. She was like, I'm not thrilled about this, but thanks for making it to the rehearsal dinner. I made it in plenty of time. I was not late. I was early. Okay. So yeah, that was ballpark one. And then I, after the wedding, I went on and, did a bunch of the parks in the Northeast. I kind of like grouped it in sections. So I did the Northeast, and then I went down to Florida. But then like while I was on the trip, I kind of had to like make sure I made it to Colorado in time for the All-Star game. So that was like the biggest time crunch actually, because there's a lot of space in between like Florida and those teams and Colorado.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a long. So wait, you went all the way from Florida to Colorado. You drove without seeing a team?
No. So I
did?
had to fit teams in. So I
Okay.
went down to Texas.
Okay.
And then up to Colorado.
Gotcha.
Oh my God, it takes forever to get from Texas to Colorado. And like there aren't like highways. It's like kind of back roads.
You did all this by yourself?
Yeah.
And you said you had some people that would join you on certain road trips.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time by yourself.
It's so much time by yourself. Oh my God, I was like, wow, like maybe I should have gotten like a therapist to talk to like in the car.
So did you tell people about this before you were doing it? Did you test run it? You're like, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd like told some of my friends. I mean, I'd been talking to my friends about it for a long time. So I was like, I think I'm actually going to do it. But yeah, I told my family about it. They were really excited. Yeah, I'd never got any bad feedback.
So, so why baseball?
Oh, I love baseball. It's just my favorite sport. I grew up in a really intense sports town. Philly cares about everything so much.
Philly does.
But baseball's always been my favorite. Like I watched it with my grandfather. My dad loves baseball too. Whole family's pretty into it. So, I mean, it's just been my sport. It's the one I vibe with.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibe is great. You're there early. You got the tailgate. You're going in, you got 9 innings.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Trip, what else?
So I kind of want to know a little bit about your history,
Yeah.
how you got to the position where you are taking this epic road trip. You said you're doing some sports journalism, you're doing some news. How did you get to that point of taking that trip?
Yeah. I mean, of course, the most important part was like I was able to make the opening for myself, but I mean, I'd just been so unhappy with, where I was at my job for such a long time. And I really wanted a change of scenery too. I mean, I was in Connecticut like since college.
Okay.
So I was like, I've been working here and like going to school here since before I turned 18. So I was like, I need to live somewhere else. Like, this is not who I am. I cannot just be in one place for like the rest of my life.
Right.
So yeah, I'd always wanted to move to Colorado too. So, cause yeah, I was covering the minor league team for the Rockies. So I was like, you're like moving out of Connecticut and going to Denver and like covering the Rockies would be so fun. So that was like kind of my goal. And I was like, well, on the in between, I'll do this road trip.
That is so awesome. College, I guess. What do you do? Communications.
Yeah,
Communications?
journalism.
What got you? What was your first beat? I guess.
Oh
right.
my gosh. So my school, I went to University of Hartford, and thankfully they have one of the best student television programs in the whole country.
Okay.
And it's totally student run too.
Love that.
But like the people who were like in there were so knowledgeable. The alumni network is incredible. There were so many alumni because the station had been going on for like 20 years at that point. So like there were people who had been in the industry for, a couple of decades, and they always came back and like taught us things. They donated equipment. So I learned so much and I fell in love with it. And I was like, I would rather do this than go to class. Which is so sad. I'm like, it's a shame that like, at that time they didn't have like classes that were really doing all of that to that level.
Right.
But I got to just like, learn how to like write and report and shoot and edit. Like I just got to learn whatever I wanted to learn on my own time. And it was the best thing ever.
I love that. So that's your past. We talked
Yeah.
about your epic road trip.
Yeah.
That's going to be a documentary one day. Amazon, hook this up. I want to see it.
Yes.
It'd be great. What are you doing now? And what you got going on right now?
Yeah, I actually just started hosting a dating show here in Denver. It's called the Date Night Podcast, but it's this live show where there's a contestant, or there's like the main person, and then they go on 3 speed dates in front of a live audience of like 100 something people.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. I just shot the first episode last night at the time that we're recording this. And oh my gosh, an absolute blast. I've never done a dating show. I've never really done like a reoccurring like live thing in a like studio audience setting. So it's very fascinating for me.
Well, you're perfect for it. I mean, you got the perfect personality for it.
Oh, thanks for saying that.
No, I mean, you do, like good energy and bubbly, and I'm sure the crowd is like engaged. I mean, you've only had one episode now.
Yeah.
So what were, there were 3 speed dates. What's a speed? I've never been on a speed date. Have you, Trip? A speed date.
I'm sure I have.
All right, give us some.
A speed date's like, so it's like 10 minutes long, and like you just like kind of see how much you can learn about each other and like just if you click, if there's that initial spark right there. So that's like but like speed dating events, I guess, are a thing.
Okay.
I've never done one, but
yeah,
it's just one person going on 3 dates. So it's like a little more like bachelorette style, but like very condensed.
Is there a format? Like, are you supposed to ask like certain questions, or is it no 10 like? How does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, the dates are encouraged to ask each other questions, but if there's like a lull or anything, like I have like all these questions prepared to like make sure the conversation keeps moving along.
For sure. Was there a lull in the first one?
No, not so. I mean, like just little moments where I was like, oh, by the way, like you should ask about his kid. Like,
ask about his family.
Yeah, like you should. There are some things you should ask that you don't know, or like one of the guys like lives like an hour and a half away. I was like, can you commute to Denver for these dates? And she was like, wait, where do you live? So it's like I like kind of found some moments to be like, oh my gosh, I feel like we got to address these things because like these are things that just can't be brushed over.
Give us some dating advice. What? Give us some dating advice. What are people doing wrong?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll say some of the things I saw last night. Specifically, one guy just like talked about himself so much and like never asked her any questions. He like kind of. Just like told his whole life story, and she's like, "Cool, cool. You want to know anything about me?"
Wow, that's common, right? Like that's a super common mistake people make.
Yeah, and like especially like in like the casting like pre-interview things that I've seen. The people who are going on these shows are like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm going on dates, and I feel like I'm carrying the date, or like I feel like they're." Not even interested in me. So I guess my advice is be yourself, but also like be present, ask good questions.
I thought you were going to say be yourself, but not fully.
No, be fully yourself so we can see the red flags right away.
Yeah, well, I think, can I add something to that maybe?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of, especially I can speak from men, like go out there and they hear that advice and they're like, okay, be myself. I love that. I'm going to be myself. And then they end up talking about themselves for an hour and a half.
But if that's yourself, that's good to know. Right. If you're like super into yourself, then like you be into yourself. I'm going to go.
Oh, that is so funny. So how many, this could go on for hours. I love this. So what are you guys meeting what is the?
There's 3 more Tuesday shows. And then the last show is April 11th, which is a Friday. They're all at Avanti on the second floor patio, which is so much fun.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful
it's gorgeous.
location.
Great views of the city.
Yep. Can I get a ticket? Can you hook Trip and I up with a ticket?
I'll hook you guys up with a ticket.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll hook you guys up.
Perfect. So it's microphones and people are, and is it recorded then?
So it's recorded as a podcast, but also like it's streamed live on Twitch. So like people can watch and throw comments in there. And then everyone in the audience is actually really interesting because like the whole like idea of it was like, they don't want it to sound like for the dates. They don't want them to feel like, they're in like a big crowd hearing their voice echo back to them. So everyone's wearing headphones.
Saw that.
Yeah. So it's like,
first
of all, great for audio capturing.
Yeah.
Like incredible concept.
Totally.
So yeah, it kind of makes it feel a little more intimate and less aggressive if you're up on that stage.
Yeah. Interesting. Who set that? How did you just have a DJ or somebody who has all that equipment?
There is I think she's a company. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk to her too much yesterday, but there was a woman who was distributing the headphones and collecting them at the end. So it's like a thing that like someone provides.
Yeah. You ever get you get a little nervous before like hosting it and stuff?
I mean a little butterflies.
Yeah.
I mean, are you even like excited about what you're doing if you're not like a little nervous?
100%.
Are you even invested? Yeah.
Do you
even care?
That needed to be on a commercial of some sort. I love that. I'm actually even more fascinated about how. So you said it's going to go on for 4 more nights, or
yeah,
how? Okay.
Yes. So it's for the next month basically. But there's a show next Tuesday, the Tuesday after that, the Tuesday after that, and then the last one is on a Friday. Because a Tuesday show would have interfered with baseball. Because baseball's about to be back.
Oh my God.
Well, Avanti's going to be so busy, pre and post game anyway.
Totally.
It would be too much.
Oh yeah. It'd be wild.
No, it'd be
How'd
too
they
much.
find you?
One of the girls who works for the show, they were looking for a new host, and she was like, I follow this girl. She seems like she'd be good. And they interviewed me. And they were like, yeah, let's do it.
Oh man, that is so
Yeah,
awesome.
it was very lucky. I'm very happy that this found me because it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been so different. Are you, so aside from this now and the ballpark stuff, are you still on a break right now? Are you doing like projects? Are you waiting? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I mean, definitely I've been on an extended break from covering baseball. It's tough in this market to get hired covering baseball because, I mean, the Rockies have kind of broken some hearts in this town. So
Yes, they have.
yeah, so I'm on a little bit of a full-time break, but this is a nice break for my break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many breaks.
So many breaks.
I need a break from the break.
Right.
I think everybody, it's you're unique in a sense because there's a lot of people that are grinding out right now. They have 2-3 jobs. I have 3 different jobs, maybe even more. Same thing with Trip and a lot of people out there. I think like it's been a dream of people to take a break from their work. What, and I know you spoke a little bit to that, but was there a mental health did you feel like there was an opportunity for you to be like, oh, I could breathe again. Now what do I want to do? Or not so much?
Well, this most recent hiatus, I won't say break again.
Sabbatical.
My sabbatical. I have been calling it a sabbatical, actually.
I love it.
Well, I was working for a media company where I was covering the Rockies, and they kind of de-invested in baseball. So I was just kind of put in a position where it's like I could keep working here for no money, or I can just not work for also no money. So,
Well,
Todd, what do I
tough
do?
decision. No, but it was that was really sad for me though, because I was I had been working my whole adult life to get a job covering a Major League Baseball team, and I had to choose to step away from it. I was devastated. I was heartbroken. It was worse than any breakup I've ever had.
Wow.
I was so sad. So I don't even think I could have jumped into something right after if I tried.
Yeah.
I was absolutely crushed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Were your whole childhood covering a major league team? Was that childhood dream?
Oh yeah. I mean, also pop star, but that one didn't work.
But I never took singing lessons.
I did.
Do you sing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, but the Lizzie McGuire movie lied to us. We can't just go to Rome and become an international pop star.
I could see you covering Lizzie McGuire. I could see you stunt doubling for her.
Thank you.
You're like,
I loved her. She was great.
who doesn't? She was one of the pop stars that she made it, right?
She did.
A lot of people didn't make it out of Nickelodeon.
Or Disney. No,
or Disney.
That was a fun era, for being a pop star, because it's if you were a pop star, your sister gets to try it too. That was so much fun. I think my family could have had fun with that.
Jessica Simpson's I got this. I got a
Yeah.
sister. Ashley Simpson was I'm on it.
I loved Ashley Simpson. I was as a child, I was oh, she's so edgy.
Yeah, edgy was the right word, I guess.
Yeah, but looking back, I was oh, this was not bad. But she was great. I still loved her.
She got out there, she sang.
She has upgraded her life. Diana Ross is her mother-in-law.
Is she really?
Really?
Yeah, she's married to her son.
I did not know that at all.
wow.
Her life is she probably upgraded the most out of every single of the 2000s pop stars.
I can already feel everybody listening to this podcast right now is Googling all this stuff. The fact checking. Oh my God, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I got all the weird, useless knowledge. you
Oh
guys
my
need.
God.
Aaron and Nick Carter didn't make it out either.
Dude, I used to love Aaron and Nick
Right?
Carter. Oh yeah.
R.I.P. Aaron.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
thanks
sad.
for bringing that up, man.
Someone had to.
Yeah. Do you
had
still sing?
At karaoke, sometimes.
Any hot karaoke bars that?
Oh my gosh. I used to go to Satire on Colfax a lot. That's a fun Friday night karaoke place.
Okay.
Whispers on Havana in Aurora is a really, really wild
go.
spot for karaoke. There's a lot of regulars who will do their thing no matter what the vibe of the crowd is. It's a fascinating place, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Karaoke is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have to hit up some karaoke then.
Are you guys karaoke guys?
Oh my gosh, I have karaoke parties at my house. Yeah, and we have 3 levels of people we invite over. So the first level, you keep it fun, light, then they leave. The second group, we get down, and then the third group's at 3 a.m. We're singing Creed.
Creed, yes.
we're just going crazy.
You've got shifts.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, my
Oh, this is like karaoke's our
This
jam.
is
So
hilarious.
yeah, so we got a lot. You guys, I gotta leave. I'm gonna pass it over to you, Trip. I gotta go train a session. This was so much fun. I will catch up with you, and I want to hear more about these stories. So
have a good session.
Yeah, I will. All right, take care.
All right, man. So
oh my gosh.
I've got two follow-up questions here.
Okay.
So with this, I'm a communications major too.
Oh, okay.
Went to Radford. What about broadcasting and being in front of camera, media, those kind of things really helped you on the show? I know you're only one episode deep, but how did it prepare you for that show?
I mean, it's just like I got a lot of reps in of just like knowing a script and like being able to talk to people. The interviewing part is so important, and I mean that's the most important part of journalism is the interview. Being able to ask questions where people will give you an answer with multiple words, and also just making people feel comfortable. Like that's a whole skill in itself. And especially doing TV, people are so nervous to be interviewed, and you just have to be like, you got this.
It's gonna be all right.
Yeah. So like, it's all these like little things that, it's feeling very journalism adjacent for sure.
Yeah, because I saw a ton of parallels as soon as you said that. I was like, it's kind of like the same thing if you really think about it. Like you're not asking stats, you're just asking about what's going on in life.
Yeah. It's like a feature. It's like doing a feature on someone.
100%.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
So what's on your? Are you allowed to have a writer for your show? Like what's in the green room for you?
It's I don't even have a writer. I know.
We got to get you an agent. Get on that.
I have an agent. I didn't need that though. Like it's just like. It's once a week. Like they're super nice. They buy you a drink at the end of the show. So I got everything I need. I don't need all that much. I come in ready.
Coming ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because everyone that does those shows, you kind of wonder what's like. It's like a case of seltzers. Like what's?
This is not the level of show. I think. I mean, like this is local still.
Still, maybe like.
But it's amazing. But like, I'm not gonna be like, I need a case of seltzers. I also don't need a case of seltzers. I don't need that. I don't need anything.
Like a nice fruit basket or something.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm sure anything I asked for, they would absolutely do. But like, I don't need it that much.
Absolutely love it. When I was working in the music department, we did the same thing with like getting bands to play at the show. Our shows.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah.
And like having them come in, like we saw some interesting. Like requests or like
what's the craziest request you saw?
Well, so like most of them ask for alcohol, and I'm like, we can't do that. Like a student-run program, work on campus, it's dry. Like, like we can't do that. But they already signed the contract to come in, so you kind of gotta like hope no one's listening.
Yeah.
Get them booze, like they want. So like that was kind of weird because that kind of put your job in jeopardy.
That puts you in a really precarious situation.
Yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble?
Well, I actually talked to my music professor about it. I'm like, hey, like, we're signing these contracts and like they, have writers and sometimes they don't like get them in on time, whatever. Like, and he was like, you got to do what you got to do. I'm like,
that's honestly some good advice because sometimes you do just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, well, it makes sense too. It's like, hey, some of these bands were decently big in the area, and if they wanted a case of beer to go on the show, it's like, well, I got a backpack.
Yeah, no harm, no foul, right?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah. That's tricky. Yeah,
because you get kicked out of school and your job at the same time. It was a little weird. We also had someone that wanted like some weird cut up fruit in like some bowl that was in a weird shape, and I was like, I can't provide that.
You can't do that.
It's like a flower bowl.
Where would I order that?
And I was like, where am I going to find this? We're in a very small town, so that was like just a few weird ones. Like
that feels like a little. I mean, I know like these bands like these are long performances. It's a very like it's a big thing, but also I'm like, where do you think you're getting that in a small town?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do the best I could, like try to provide everything I could, no matter what it was. But some of them were just kind of like so far out, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can a band like if you can't like meet like their rider requirements, can they just be like, I'm not doing it
100%.
Even though I signed?
100%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because that's usually typically part of that contract is like they get a rider, and there's like we had a certain budget for it. Like, hey, listen, this is how much we can spend on your rider. Kind of opposite of a normal like venue. Yeah. Because a normal venue, they're like, what do you want? They just give it to you for the most part, right? But here it's like, hey, this is our budget, and then sometimes we wouldn't get the list until later, and well, we can't.
Oh my gosh.
Do I ruin the concert and just save my job, or do you do what you got to do? So, but
You
it's,
gotta do.
But it's
That's
kind of
fascinating, though. Oh my gosh. I had no idea that could be so stressful.
well. It felt like you're in high school, like drinking at your friend's house in the basement. You know, like you're clinking on the way into the.
I actually never did that. I was such a good kid.
Oh, I cannot say this such about
I'm
myself.
so sorry. I know. I like was really boring up until like a couple years ago. No, that's not true.
Well, this is probably why I wound up with a neck tattoo and you didn't.
Oh, I do. It's no.
You got it. Oh,
It's right here.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This has been a
course.
blast.
Oh,
I loved yapping with you guys.
Well, we got to have you back on and kind of continue this saga. Like,
Yeah.
figure out what's going on next, see how the show went. You know, maybe we can do some follow-ups if we get tickets for your show and be
Yeah.
like, hey, the show's awesome, and try to put your name out there. We're gonna put your contact or your like LinkedIn, if you want to put your LinkedIn in, any links to the
Ooh.
show into the copy. So send that stuff to me today, and
Yeah.
we'll put it on. The show will be released tomorrow.
Oh,
We got a
my
quick
gosh, so
turnaround.
exciting.
Well,
Love
just-
a quick turnaround.
It just seems like it loses a little bit of fizz.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more you just sit on it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're talking about current events and stuff like that with these podcasts, and
Yeah, like because obviously so many current events are happening. Things are changing every hour. You got to have the freshest stuff.
well, yeah. Then if you're not first, you're last. You know.
Exactly. Yes.
But we'll put out the contact information, any social media, so they can find you, follow up with the story, see some of this posts from your.
Yeah. Well, I'm at the Suzie Hunter on all platforms.
Boom. Well, make sure you're
Yeah.
following this. I'm going to follow her right after this. Check out what's this show. I'm like really excited about that show, considering we talked about my weird experience on
Yeah.
the dating show. But I can't wait to follow up with you on this.
Oh my gosh, same. Yeah.
This is going to be awesome. Again, all your contact information is in the copy. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing the podcast. I want to thank a few new countries into the fold. We had Albania with some new downloads. Thank you guys for coming in. Thailand, New Zealand, Tanzania is in the fold now. And then I have one more. I'm so sorry, guys. And then we have Honduras. That was this. So thank you guys for downloads. We're now in 65 countries across the world because of you guys. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys are telling your friends, cousins, second cousins, roommates, brothers, dogs, friend about us, because we need the help. Well, thank you guys so much, and make sure you guys watch for the next episode that'll be posted next Thursday. Have a good one, guys. Bye.